Ford government says it will amend its controversial Bill 5. Good evening. I'm Haley Perot, joined by Ryan Bonazzo. Thank you for joining us. That reversal comes amid a torrent of criticism from First Nation leaders and environmental advocates.
But the province says it still has no plans to kill the mining bill outright. CTV's Siobhan Morris brings us the details.
The government is tweaking its bill aimed at speeding up mining, especially in the Ring of Fire. The legislation has sparked anger, including among First Nations. In response, progressive conservatives have proposed an amendment making explicit
that we will meaningfully consult before using our authorities. We will respect the Constitution.
Hardly a concession, says the NDP.
Well, don't worry, it's constitutional. Well, man, that's a low bar.
Bill 5 allows for special economic zones where provincial and municipal laws can be suspended. The government now intends to add special Indigenous economic zones at the request of some First Nations to accelerate projects.
They want to be a part of economic opportunity and fundamentally transform and change the economic fortunes of many First Nations.
The province's only First Nation MPP, serving a community in the Ring of Fire, says adjustments aren't enough.
It's a slap in the face when you try to do last-minute changes to appease the First Nations.
This as a committee parses through the legislation bit by bit.
There was no free, prior, informed consent.
The Minister of Indigenous Affairs insists the government's ears will be open.
Our duty to consult begins when the bill is passed.
But the opposition and Indigenous leaders maintain consultations should have been part of the drafting of the bill to get it right.
Otherwise, we end up back in the courts. And that's what's going to happen. This is going to tie things up again for years.
Mamakwa has warned Ministers Rickford and Lecce First Nations are prepared for a standoff over the bill.
This bill is dead on arrival. It needs to be scrapped and the government needs to start over.
Liberals think some bits could be saved with amendments, but have concerns about what they see as a power grab.
With respect to what it would do to special economic zones, where the power lies, who's defining that, who's controlling, who's benefiting.
Bill 5 could become law as early as next week. New Democrats are trying to slow that process at committee, pushing debate late into the evening, trying to force another meeting on another day. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Local MPP Lise Vaugeois is calling on the Ford government to reach an out-of-court settlement in the class action lawsuit filed by participants of the Basic Income Pilot Project that the PCs scrapped when they first took office. The NDP member says the program, introduced by the previous Liberal government in 2017, was helping low-income people in Thunder Bay and 2 other cities get back on their feet with a reliable income.
The Ontario government had contractually committed to completing this project over the planned 3 years. However, the moment Doug Ford was elected in 2018, he pulled the plug. This caused incredible harm to participants, many of whom had reported improvements in their physical and mental health, labour market participation, food security, housing stability, financial status, and social relationships. The abrupt closure was devastating.
Under the terms of the Basic Income Pilot, participants in the 3 communities received up to $17,000 a year in guaranteed income in exchange for their participation in the study. Soon after the program was cancelled, a Toronto law firm helped launch a $200 million class action that could take several more years to be heard in court. Vaugeois says it's time for the government to stop fighting the lawsuit.
4,000 participants are pursuing a class action lawsuit against the government alleging a breach of contract, negligence, and a violation of Section 7 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The behaviour of the government was egregious, and I believe the court case will prove this. A better idea would be to save everyone time, money, and further suffering and settle this case now.
A Toronto man convicted in a 2022 Thunder Bay homicide will spend another 5.5 years behind bars. 30-year-old Isaac Talbot Hall received his sentence today at the city courthouse. Talbot Hall was initially charged with second-degree murder, but pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter earlier this year. The victim, 28-year-old Sean Newsom of Ajax, was stabbed 7 times at Andrus Court on Cumberland Street and later died in hospital. The Crown had asked for a 10-year sentence, while the lawyer for the defense sought 5 to 6 years with enhanced credit for time served. Today in court, the judge sentenced Talbot Hall to 10 years minus 4.5 years for the time he's already spent behind bars. He also received a lifetime weapons ban.
Following another violent incident at the Brodie Library branch, the union representing Thunder Bay Public Library workers is calling on their employer to take immediate action for the safety of staff and the library patrons. Between January and March, there were more than 200 incidents of threats, abuse, and violence at the city's 4 library branches. That's a 73% increase over the previous quarter. One of the worst assaults occurred last week at Brodie, resulting in a worker being sent to hospital. That branch has seen a 183% increase in violent incidents this quarter. CUPE Local 3120 President Margaret DeMillo says she and her 60 members are extremely concerned about the lack of action from library management.
The incidences have increased in frequency and now in intensity. They've been escalating for at least the last 3 months, if not closer to a year. So they aren't new, but they are escalating. But again, people are tired and they're worried about the next person who walks through the door. Are they a threat? So we've been told the management is working on things. The union hasn't been actively engaged in those discussions. So we are finding it very frustrating. Just for example, what happened at Brodie, we're at day 15 with no substantial changes to that work environment.
Library CEO Richard Togman says he plans to appear at an upcoming city council meeting to ask for $100,000 in emergency funding to hire 2 full-time security guards.
Thunder Bay Police have charged a 56-year-old man with the historical child sexual abuse offenses. Ronald Nicholas Slusser is accused of sexual assault and sexual interference following a year-long police investigation into incidents involving a child welfare worker that date back about 2 decades. Slusser was arrested last month and appeared in court this morning. Police note the investigation continues as there may be other victims. Anyone with information is urged to call Thunder Bay Police or Crime Stoppers.
A new study finds the number of family doctors working in Ontario is up, which is good news.
But they may actually be harder to find because of the types of medicine they're choosing to practice. CTV's Pauline Chan has the latest on the healthcare crisis in this province.
Some 2 million Ontario residents are without a primary care physician, and the Ford government has spent millions to help solve the problem, saying this year saw a record-setting number of 621 students match into family medicine, 113 more than in 2022 as a result of our medical school expansion. The Health Ministry also says Ontario has the highest rate of people with a primary care provider, adding 15,000 new doctors since 2018, including a 10% increase in family doctors.
And what our study found is that, we're graduating and putting out more family doctors, but what's really concerning is that more and more of them are choosing to practice in a focused area that's not full-service family medicine.
Family physician and researcher Dr. Tara Kieran says many are going into emergency medicine or other specialties, especially in a hospital setting.
You work in a hospital, you don't have any overhead, someone else has, you've got a place to come and work, someone else has hired the staff you're going to be working with.
She says many community family physicians work alone, and so covering parental leave or vacations is especially hard.
It's not enough to just train more family doctors. We have to support them and ensure the systems and incentives are in place so that they preferentially choose family medicine in the community, which is what people most really need right now.
Dr. Kieran says hospitals currently offer better pay than community work, so money is one key area to address. The Ford government has promised to find a family doctor for every Ontario resident by 2029. It has pledged $2.1 billion towards creating primary care action teams, with Dr. Jane Philpott leading the initiative. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Construction work is about to begin on Thunder Bay's 3rd roundabout at the corner of Cumberland and Water Streets.
City officials are advising the public that Cumberland is now fully closed to all traffic between McVicar and Howe Streets for the next 4 to 5 months. Ryan Graham reports.
The city's latest roundabout encompasses Cumberland and Water Streets, Marina Park Drive, and McVicar Street. It comes with a price tag of $3.7 million due to the fact the project involved a full reconstruction, including new water lines, sanitary sewers, and sidewalks throughout the area.
This is part of the whole roundabout project down here at Cumberland and Water. This is the early stages. We're actually just doing a cut and cap today, which is just a term for stopping a water main from the flow of water, obviously. So we're cutting the one end because what's happening is we're putting a deeper manhole in near McVicar.
While Water Street remains open at this time, all vehicle and pedestrian access is restricted within the closed section of Cumberland Street.
The road work itself is just going to be slowly starting from where we are here and working towards Howe, the shutdowns as far as Howe today. And then we're going to get towards Villa, and then we're going to get towards Tupper as well. So we're going to keep the road closures more confined and more tight as opposed to shutting the whole block down.
Meanwhile, construction is just about wrapped up on the downtown section of Red River Road. It's the final stage of the $11 million streetscape project that has been in the works for the past 2 years.
This Friday, possibly early next week, all the paperwork will be done. So the road work itself will be complete. They're installing trees as we speak, like on early morning, later day, rain day type of thing. So we're trying to get as much of the landscape done as we can within those planter pots. I'd say within 2 weeks, Red River Road itself will be opened up. We'd like to let the patios open up ASAP and get the kind of the summer rolling downtown. So Red River will be flowing, like I said, within 2 weeks, and hopefully all the patrons will be back downtown and happy again.
Ryan Graham, TBT News.
Thunder Bay residents will get a chance to board a tall ship at Prince Arthur's Landing this summer. The St. Lawrence II will make 2 stops in the city as it tours the Great Lakes. The first visit is on Canada Day. The majestic 24-meter-long vessel was built in the 1950s and is operated by the Tall Ships Expeditions Canada. It's been to Thunder Bay before in 2022, but public tours weren't available at that time. The St. Lawrence II and its crew of adventure camp participants will stop here on their way to an event in Duluth. It's the first visit to Thunder Bay, or the first visit in Thunder Bay will be from July 1st to 4th, with free tours on Canada Day from 3 to 6 p.m. The ship will then return from Duluth on July 18th, with more free public tours that afternoon. The vessel will remain here until July 20th, when it sets sail for Sault Ste. Marie.
We got sailing season, we've got construction season underway. Fiona, it all means one thing, and that is the weather is still getting nicer. Temperatures were great out there once again today.
Oh, they were beautiful, and we added a few degrees to our daytime high, loads of sunshine, as is the case in most of the region. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, we had early morning low of 4 Celsius, warmed up to 25 under partly cloudy skies. And winds, for the most part, were relatively light to kind of moderate. From the southeast, as light as 3 kilometers an hour, gusts up to 17. So all in all, it was just a gorgeous day out there to begin to wrap up May. Now, across the region, temperatures are comfortably in the 20s for the majority of the region. Grand Portage at 17, 16 in Marathon, but everywhere else in the low 20s. But as we know, they are dealing with smoke from forest fires to the northwest. So Red Lake, mostly cloudy, but unfortunately probably can't even notice that because of the localized smoke in the area. Fort Frances, below that area of smoke, so beautiful day. They had mostly sunny skies for a lot of it, just a few clouds here and there because of a system to the south in the northern states, in the Minnesota and Wisconsin regions, bringing in some periods of cloud, but not a whole lot. Along the eastern shores, mostly cloudy for most of the day in the Sioux, and Greenstone had nothing but sunshine until about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Then the clouds have started to push in. But all in all, a gorgeous day. Some of the warmest locations, Greenstone actually topped out at 26. I believe Armstrong matched that or came very, very close. Here in the city of Thunder Bay tonight, we are going to see a mild overnight low of 7 under clear skies, and winds are going to be very light from the southeast, just 5 to 10 kilometers per hour. And Ryan, if you liked today, I think you'll love tomorrow because we've got more sunshine on the way, and it could even get warmer than today. So You might notice a few people not in the newsroom offering to go out to do stories because it's going to be a beautiful day.
Yeah, I think a lot of people enjoyed today's temperatures, and we'll be happy to hear that more is on the way. Thanks a lot, Fiona.